Hi, Cancer, Sun, Moon, Ascendant, or Venus. This is Dane, and I'm going to be doing your October 2021 new moon reading for you. Now I ask if this reading resonates with you. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. If you're interested in any of the cards that I'm using, they will be listed and linked in the description box below. Now before we begin this reading, let us clear the energy space, raising our own energy vibration and releasing any negativity. So take a nice deep breath in, exhaling whenever it feels comfortable for you. Releasing all negativity from the body like storm clouds. Letting yourself feel calm, centered, and at peace as we enter into this safe and loving space. Let's let the bowls sing as we see what the tarot has to say. How will Cancer be affected by the October 2021 new moon? Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides. Angels and spirit guides. Angels. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides. Fantastic. At the bottom is our root itself. The left-hand side is our inner self. The middle, our heart, our emotional self. The right-hand side, the public arena, the public self. So let's see what the cards have to say. At our root, we have the Hierophant, which is Taurus energy. If we have Taurus energy within our natal chart, that's coming through very powerfully at our root. But this is also telling us to be true to ourselves. And we have the Sun, because blessings are coming our way. The Sun is the happiest card in the whole entire deck. So having that at our root, especially during this moon, which, not to be fear-mongering at all, is the most intense moon I have seen in quite some time. So just to be able to know that like luck is on our side and there's this beauty to this moon or to this time for us is going to be so important. At our root, we have, not our root, our inner self, we have the Shaman, which is equivalent to the Hangman in the Rider-Waite-Smith decks. I actually really like this card. It's very pretty. And then we have the Ace of Fire, which is fire sign energy coming through. Now, if we're born on the cusp with Leo, okay, or we have a lot of fire sign energy within our chart, this is going to come through a little bit more powerfully. We're going to feel this fire. And because Mars plays such a prevalent role within this lunar lineup during this time, we're going to feel this gift from God, Source, Spirit, however you see the divine, the universe, more intensely, okay? So with the Ace of Fire, there is this sense of radiance, there's a sense of beauty, there's a sense of aligning with our passions, but there is also a sense of the fire can get out of hand. Now, water sign energy usually keeps this in check, but we have to make sure that it doesn't boil off the water. It doesn't boil off our calm, because this can be a time where irritation is just prevalent. It's just rampant. We feel much more irritated, and you can feel this now. I know I most definitely am feeling a lot more irritated, a lot more like just my energy isn't good, and being very mindful of that and centering ourselves again and pulling ourselves back and saying, okay, you know what? I'm upset, I'm overwhelmed, I have to acknowledge this within me. That's going to be a very big thing, instead of thinking, you know what, I just have to push it through, just kind of soldier on, suck it up, keep going. No, acknowledging this within us and still moving on and still doing what we need to do is important, but also taking care of ourselves is intrinsically important during this time. Our emotional self, we have the Three of Wands. We're on this journey. We have the Tower. So much has changed. The moon greatly affects us, especially emotionally during this time here, Cancer. And we have the moon coming in, which is Pisces energy. So if we have Pisces within our natal chart, that's coming through very powerfully at our heart. But the moon affects us emotionally. The Five of Swords in the public arena, we're facing something we've already faced. I mean, we've already seen it. We've already faced it. Do we want to be facing it again? No, not really, not at all. But to be able to say, I see this, I understand this, and I'm not going to fall to this conflict is going to be one of the most empowering things that we do. And we might not even have known that we've done it, or that we did it the right way. We have judgment, forgiveness. And that's beautiful. To be able to forgive ourselves, to be able to see ourselves rise out of the box that we put ourselves in, that society put us in, that we felt we had to be in for somebody else or for something else. We're going to see us really rise out of this and be able to say, but this is me, and there isn't anything wrong with being me. Now let's look at our let's look at our energy to be mindful of during this time. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading. It's the Chariot. It's ourselves. So Chariot represents Cancer energy, right? In the major arcana, this is the essence of ourselves. We have to be mindful of ourselves during this full moon, during this new moon, because we can have a tendency to take things too personally. We can have a tendency to get in our own way. We can have a tendency to just really be affected by this moon and not even realize it, and just have irritation come forward. We're also going to be very drawn to people who don't have themselves balanced, the subconscious and the conscious self. With Cancer, when you are aligned, it is the most beautiful thing, because your subconscious and your conscious self are aligned, and there's this beauty and there's intricacy and this depth to you that is astounding. But when a Cancer isn't aligned, or when a person just in general isn't aligned, and the conscious and the subconscious self are at war with each other, or don't even know the other one exists, you find that person is in discord, is in disharmony. And that's what we're going to have to be mindful of, because we could want to help this person, we could want to lead this person forward, or be that shoulder to cry on. And what Spirit is saying here is that we have to be very mindful who we give our energy to and why we give our energy to that person. So let's look at our chakra energy for this time. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels. Listening. The throat chakra. I love listening with the throat chakra, because when it comes to the throat chakra, we usually think of talking, but listening is intrinsically important. We're going to need to listen to ourselves, our inner voice, our inner guidance, what we really want as opposed to what we think we're supposed to want. Listening to others, it's going to be the spaces in between words, the spaces in between things that we find the most knowledge, the most resonance, the most power from. And that's going to be a really beautiful acknowledgement, a really beautiful opening up the door and leading us forward. So let's start talking about this new moon. Now, this new moon is in Libra. That is the best thing that we can say about this new moon. Again, I do not in any way, shape, or form want to be fear-mongering. This is just giving us the facts, laying them out as they are, so we can be as prepared for this energy that is around us already, as we can be as prepared for this moon that we are entering into and its residual, there we go, effects that it will have on us. So with the new moon in Libra, it says a new romantic cycle begins. And that's beautiful. It's like a new sense of, and a new way of falling in love with our lives and ourselves and our goals and where we want to be and how we want to be. But this new moon is different. So this new moon comes with a lot of astrological baggage to it. Now, the Libra energy, let's just focus on this for a moment. The Libra energy brings harmony and balance and a strong sense of partnership. We have this strong sense of what we want and what we love and how we're partnering with people in the public arena, in our home lives and love lives. So we're going to see this very strongly coming forward. But this new moon, okay, the sun, the moon, Mercury, Mars, they're all clustered around Libra, which empowers us and intensifies this energy. But it brings a lot of intensity to this time and to the planetary alignment. And we see here that at our, root, the sun is going to play a very important part during this time. Now, the sun conjunct the moon, which is what the new moon is the end of a 28-day cycle and the beginning of another. There's a burst of energy and initiative and a sense of, I can get this done. I can get this done. I can see the beginning, the middle, and the end. The middle might be a little foggy, but I can see it and I can move forward towards it. So this is usually the best time to go after things, the best time to, put our best foot forward. But this moon this moon brings caution, all right? So the new moon is going to be conjunct Mars. It's important to come to this moon with as high an energy vibration as you can. If we do not come to this new moon with a high energy vibration, if we're already feeling the upset of this moon, okay, the chaos of this moon, people will say, like, why are you so out of sorts? Like, why are you snippy? People are saying that to me all the time. Like, my mom is like, why are you snippy? My brothers, my friends, everybody, they're like, why are you snippy? And it's like, it's not me, it's you. And that's not true. It's me. It's the way this moon is reacting within me. And so we have to center ourselves. We have to calm ourselves. We have to acknowledge the energy that is around us and step back from the snippiness, because it's going to be so easy to just go down this rabbit hole and just let it take us away. So if we don't come again to this energy with a high energy vibration, or if we have ourselves too open to the energy of this world, it can really hit us hard. This combination gives us powerful energy and courage and initiative, but we need to use it wisely, and we need to be able to recognize it. If this energy is not recognized, if this energy is not used responsibly, all right, it will cause devastating consequences. We will become hot-headed and a bit cruel. Note that people around us, too, they're going through this time. So this is a time where we don't have a lot of compassion, but we need it. So we need to look at everybody and everything and come to our world with as much compassion as we possibly can, even though during this time it's going to be a test. This powerful energy leads us to irritation and aggression. It can also lead us to, just an underlying nastiness. Again, be aware of that. This is a time to step back. This is a time to have a cup of chamomile tea or a cup of hot cocoa, whatever, calms you and raises, your dopamine levels, to be able to embrace harmony. Homeopathy with chamomile and other, soothing components are going to be so important. If we don't use homeopathy, or we find it easier to use the brand of Calms or Rescue Remedy just to calm us, to center us, that would also be very helpful. I'm not affiliated with them in any way, shape, or form. They're just trusted brands that I keep on going back to. Now, the new moon is Quincus Uranus. This combo does not help calm us down at all. Actually, it brings nervousness, tension, and anxiety. We feel like the world is changing around us, like changes on the horizon, like we're swept up in something and we can't stop it. So there's a feeling of helplessness. Now, we're also coming out of, on this day, Pluto going direct. We're coming out of Pluto retrograde. And that's actually something that's going to be very impactful for you. Yeah, for you, Cancer, because there's this sense here of coming out of this need to have to control things, because that's what Pluto retrograde brings us, this need to have to control. And yet we're stepping into, we're stepping into these new beginnings, these new options, these new understandings. And we're thinking, well, why not? And then we have the sense of nervousness and anxiety and knowing that change is coming and knowing that we can't stop it. And so we need to make sure that we take care of ourselves. This is a time to practice yoga. This is a time to meditate. This is a time to, self-care, to do a bath or a nice steamy shower and, do our skincare routine if that calms you down. I know it definitely does me. And be able to just pamper ourselves in ways that maybe we don't usually pamper ourselves, or ways that we are forgetting to pamper ourselves. Mars is going to be Quincus Uranus. This, again, brings nervousness, anxiety, and just does not calm us down. We find ourselves losing our patience. We find ourselves needing change. Whether it's right or wrong, we're going to be like, you know what? I'm just going for it because I need something different. If I stay in this monotonous rut, I'm going to scream. And yet, this monotonous rut that we feel that we're in, we might not actually be in. That's why we have to get out of our own minds, out of our own, emotional chaos at this time. We are going to tend to be rebellious for the sake of rebellion. Now, this can be like we feel like we're going back to being 16. And this can also be very odd for those of us who were never rebellious, who, kind of looked at their lives and said, okay, this is what needs to be done. This is what I'm going to do. These are my responsibilities. Now we're going to find ourselves resenting them, kind of pushing at the barriers around us. We need to acknowledge this, but we also need not to be defined by this rebellion. So we're going to need to find a balance there. This rebellion is also kind of going to go against our long-term goals. So we have to be mindful of that. The new moon and Mars are aligned with the constellation of Carvus the Crow, and even the stars, okay, during this time are just not there to calm us down. Carvus the Crow, best quality, okay, is that he thinks outside of the box, like making Carvus a man, but he has ingenuity there, that's the word, and passion. He thinks outside of the box. We're going to be able to think outside of the box. We have a lot of passion here. But Carvus is also greedy and dishonest and vengeful and spiteful and selfish and aggressive. And we're going to find this in ourselves and in others. Now, this is a great time for looking at the tension within us, calling it out, and pushing us forward to the place that we want to be, the place that we need to be, purging out a lot of the negativity within us. This is also going to be a time where we, again, have to come to the interactions with others with compassion. If we don't, we're going to feel too angry, and that's going to hurt us in the long run. Now, within Carvus the Crow's constellation, there is the star Algorba. Algorba is known as and brings the kill or be killed attitude to life. So again, it doesn't help anything, but it makes us feel like if I don't get it, and you'll get it, and then I'll be left in the dirt. Like I won't be able to excel the way I need to excel. It's very backstabbing energy. So as much as Libra tries to calm all of this, it's like Libra is this calm, beautiful flower in the midst of all this chaos, all this, nastiness, all these, vines trying to destroy it. And we just have to be aware of that. We have to be aware that we're going to want balance. We're going to want harmony. We're going to see things and say, all right, I see where I should be going here. And yet we're going to find it astoundingly difficult to get to that point. But we have the Hierophant at our root. If we stay true to who we are, if we look at ourselves as gifted individuals, as powerful, insightful beings, we can find ourselves rising to new heights. We can look at things in a new way. We need to look at what's intrinsically a part of us. So with the Hierophant, all right, the Hierophant is the major arcana marriage card. We need to look at what we're married to, not who we're married to or if we want to be married or a whole philosophical discussion on any of that. What we need to look at is, what is it that in my life I need to do in order to be me and the best me possible? How is it that I elevate myself? How is it that I move myself forward? And that's the road we need to walk. That's the path we need to take. And it moves us to the sun. It moves us to blessings. It moves us to insight and to ideas and to greater understanding and to joy and to success. And it brings the shaman within us. It brings a sense of rhythmic understanding. I love that he's, hitting the drum. There's a sense here of being able to come into our power by understanding the base vibration of things and being drawn not by our logic, not by even our hearts, but by this sense of, does this feel right? And I don't know why that isn't going to be our hearts or our logic. Maybe it's the two coming together. But we need to move forward with emotional understanding and emotional power because of that understanding. If we do so, even with our eyes wide shut, we'll be able to see clearly. We'll be able to move in the direction that we really want to. And it moves us to the Ace of Fire. It moves us to this forging, and it moves us to these gifts coming forward. This is the passion that gets us out of bed in the morning. But because, again, we have this intensity around us that makes us think, if I don't get it, somebody else will. If I don't do it, I'll never be able to. We need to calm ourselves and center ourselves and then move forward in our passion, in our determination, in our focus, because new horizons are coming for us. New horizons are opening up. We're going to be able to see ourselves during this time. Now, it can be because the chaotic energy is pushing us to act when we would rather sit down. We're going to see ourselves being able to open the door, being able to move towards what we need and what we want and what we desire and who we are. And as we do this, we're looking at the chaos, the change that is coming for us with the new moon quincus Uranus. And we know that it's out of our control. But we also know that we've been through a lot of times in our lives where the change has been out of our control, where we feel like we're on a ride or we feel like we're being pushed one way or another. This is a time where we start to settle ourselves. We start to see ourselves. We look at the chaos around us and we say, no, this is my pillar against the storm. This is my way forward. This is my insight and these are my ideas. And the moon is illuminating within us, even though it is void, even though it is dark, is illuminating within us what we need, what we desire, what we want, what we're looking for, where we need to be, what we want from our lives. We're going to find that this new moon, even with all its chaos, even with all its intensity, even with all its violence that it seems to be bringing, is having us focus on what we need and what we desire. Because this moon has such an intense impact on us, there's no surprise here that we have the Five of Swords coming up in the public arena. The Five of Swords is conflict. It's something from our past coming up that we have to face again. Do we want to? No. But during this moon, as we start to see things a little bit more combatively, maybe we start standing up for ourselves more. Maybe we walk away from something that isn't right for us. Maybe we, embrace our voice more, not in this combative way that is around us, but in this way that says, you know what, I'm worth more than this. I'm worth more than this. And that's what the Five of Swords is really showing us. It's showing us some sort of issue that we have been in the past that we have to confront now and come to terms with in our present to be able to accelerate ourselves, to be able to move forward in the direction that we really want to, and in the direction that we really need to, spiritually and personally. And that leads us to judgment, that leads us to coming out of the box, that leads us to pushing boundaries, that leads us to understanding ourselves more, because we're rising higher and higher. And as we rise higher and higher, as we look at the limitations we were put in, as we, step out of the past and into our present, not into the future, but into the present that we have right now, we step into ourselves. We see ourselves, we honor ourselves, and that's what makes us rise. We also honor our voice and our intellect and our ideas and where it is that we want to be and where it is that we just don't want to be anymore. Now, let's see what the moon has to say for herself. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly, guide this reading, and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly, guide this reading. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly, guide this reading. And show me clearly, angels and spirit guides. Angels. Oh, goodness. And spirit guides, show me clearly. So at our root, we have patience, which is definitely needed, as we have the Hierophant and the Sun. Step out of your comfort zone. And that's what this time is all about. It's about stepping out of our comfort zone, stepping into ourselves, knowing what we desire, knowing what we want, knowing who we are. It then leads us to our inner self, release. Prosperity lies ahead. What is it that we're holding on to, and what is it that we have been holding on to that is keeping us from our prosperity, that is keeping us from the bounty that we want within our world and for ourselves? Change. And this is over the Tower. So our hearts are changing. We feel this change quite profoundly. It can actually feel uncomfortable for a lot of us Cancers during this time, where we're like, okay, but do I want to change this way? Do I want to change at all? Like, have I had enough change? Have things been too exciting or just too intense during this time, or in my life for the past year or so, or even more? Some of us have been going through one change after another, after another, after another, and it never feels like we get our footing. This is a time where we see the chaos around us, and we're able to see our footing more. We're able to say, but this is what I want. This is what I need. This is who I am. This is where I'm headed. It's time to release negativity. And this moon really does help us release negativity, release what has held us back, what has denied us, what has had us see things in a negative, hurtful, harmful light. It brings us then to abundance. A new start is coming. Now, what I love about this is that we have abundance here with the harvest moon, which has just passed. And then we have the new moon coming into play. A new start is coming. A new start, a new passion, a new idea. The new moon is with us. The new moon is actually guiding us towards abundance, even though it's making us face all these things that maybe we'd rather not face. Maybe we, thought we had enough of, or we thought didn't apply to us anymore. Now as we face it, now as we see it, now as we face ourselves, now as we see ourselves, there's power here, and there's beauty, and there's intricacy. It moves us to our subconscious self, which is focus. A win-win outcome is forecast. And this is with the new moon, focus. Now we have the new moon, not the new moon, the full moon energy coming in Libra. Focus on the energy of Libra. Focus on the harmony, the balance, the strength of our partnerships, and the strong connection with our partnerships, with what we want, and even the partnership within ourselves for the masculine and feminine aspects of ourselves. What do we want to bring forward our balance in? What do we want to be balanced within our lives? Our subconscious energy to be mindful of is the moon. Is this energy of the heart, is the way that the moon affects our heart, the intensity of our moon to our heart. We're going to see here that there is more to this time than we realize. There is more to us than we realize. The moon comes into play, and we look at things with this intense understanding. We look at things also through fear. This is going to be a very easy time to fall into fear, to let fear make all the choices for us. We have to be aware of that. We have to understand that about us, that we could easily fall into fear and say fear is everything. And so as we become mindful of this, we become mindful of the subconscious and conscious self that we were already warned might not be working together, might feel the urge to pull different ways. We have to center ourselves, understand ourselves, and embrace ourselves during this time. It moves us to our subconscious chakra energy, which is inspiration. Now, this is the sacral chakra. The sacral chakra is one of my favorite chakras, but it's also a highly complex chakra because the sacral chakra is where we hold our sexual, sensual, creative energy, but it's also where we hold all the negativity from this life and past lives. And so as we step out of ourselves, as we embrace our inspiration, as we are inspired, as we let the world hold wonder and let us be able to embrace this wonder, we are able to embrace a new road forward. We're able to embrace new insights and new ideas. And we're able to see ourselves moving in a way that we hadn't thought we'd move. We see ourselves coming into something more. Yes, this time is all about change, but it doesn't have to be malevolent change. It could be astoundingly positive change. It moves us to our subconscious rooted self, which is temperance, balance, Sagittarius energy. It's balancing the strength with the flexibility. It's balancing the seen with the unseen. It's balancing the heart and the mind. It's balancing all aspects of ourselves and saying what is thrown out of balance through this moon and why. What has been coming up as our irritants, as our angers, as our frustrations, and why. It moves us then to our subconscious inner self, which is the Two of Water, the Two of Cups. Unity, healing, connection, love, the sacred feminine and the sacred masculine coming together. And as we embrace this, we embrace our subconscious emotional self. And that's the Two of Swords. Now, the repeat of the number 2 is focusing on our creativity, focusing on our partnerships, focusing on our balance. Now, the Two of Swords is seeing that the two roads that we thought were the only roads that we could take, now we're starting to see a third come up. Now we're starting to see more options come into our lives than we had thought possible. We're starting to see new pathways opening up. And that rebel instinct within us, it's like, why not? This is going to be a time where, yes, we have to be very mindful about things. Yes, we have to ground ourselves and see ourselves and understand ourselves. But we also need to take the risks when it's needed. And not just to rebel against whatever, but to embrace ourselves and what we want. It moves us then to our subconscious public self. And that is restriction. It's the Eight of Swords. The Eight of Swords is going to be that we get in too much into our own head. Now we have the Five of Swords coming through. And the Five of Swords is we're facing something we don't want to face. Are we getting too much in our own heads because it's triggering us? Because it's intense energy that we have to deal with? That Spirit is saying, deal with it now. And we can say, no, I'm not ready for it. We definitely can. But we also start to claim our power and our space and our understanding. We also start to see the restrictions that have been around us. And it's like, why? Why am I held back? Why am I denying myself? Why do I feel caged and chained when I'm not? And what is it that makes me feel caged and chained, and why? The Eight of Swords is telling us, get out of our own heads. People live their whole lives in the Eight of Swords, absolutely believing that they can't do something, absolutely believing that the past defines their present, and it doesn't. It absolutely does not. All right, Cancer. I hope this reading has resonated with you. I wish you nothing but light, love, peace, and happiness. May harmony always be with you. I'm sending loving, healing energy to each and every one of you. I love you all, and stay safe. Let's end this reading with a meditation, a clearing away of negative energy, a raising of our positive energy as we embrace the power and the intensity of this new moon. So take a nice deep breath in exhaling whenever it feels comfortable for you. May you move forward in peace and in harmony, Cancer, and may you have a blessed new moon.